You are driving to work, eyes on the road, and listening to music. Everything seems fine. But what if I told you that even in the best case scenario, every 100 seconds, one of those drivers and cars around you is in the middle of a mental health crisis so severe they actually need to be in a hospital bed right now? Think about that crazy driver who cuts across lanes or brakes for no reason. Chances are they are not simply impatient or rude. They may be hearing voices, shaking from drug withdrawal, or fighting a burst of uncontrollable rage. My name is Dr. Parsai, and you're watching Amber's Lab. In this episode, I will talk about the severe forms of mental illnesses and their prevalence in society. Whether we like it or not, mental illness is a part of being human. These conditions are not very common, but when they become very serious, they can cause sudden, unexpected trouble. So, which illnesses am I talking about? Several serious illnesses can sometimes lead people to hurt others. Let's look at some of the most serious mental health disorders and how common they are. Schizophrenia affects 0.5% of people. It often feels like hearing voices, seeing things that aren't real, or believing strange ideas. This can be scary and sometimes leads to confused or unpredictable actions. Severe substance use disorder affects 3.5% of people. People with this disorder experience strong cravings and painful withdrawal. To get drugs or alcohol, they may end up stealing or getting into fights. About 1.4% of people have antisocial personality disorder. This means they may often lie, break rules, or act without caring about others' rights. Psychopathy, which affects around 1.2% of people, is different but related. Someone with psychopathy can seem charming on the surface, but feel no guilt when hurting or deceiving others. Finally, intermittent explosive disorder affects 3.9% of people. It involves sudden bursts of rage, shouting, hitting, breaking things, and they often feel no regret afterward. Each of these conditions is rare, but when they appear, they can have a serious impact on people's lives and the lives of those around them. If we just add the numbers, about 10% of the population would have one of these severe illnesses. But many people have more than one disorder at the same time. After removing this overlap, roughly one third, we get a better estimate of 7 to 8%. So in a society of 100 million people, around 7 to 8 million live with a severe mental illness that can raise the risk of violence or serious harassment. Most of these people are not violent every day. The greatest danger comes when antisocial traits combine with active drug or alcohol misuse. Good medical care, early help, and strong community support can protect both patients and everyone around them. Let's talk about the gap between the number of people who need emergency psychiatric care and the care we are actually able to give. How many people need an emergency psychiatric bed right now? Let's break it down by disorder. Using a population of 100 million as an example, about 0.5% of people have schizophrenia. Roughly 30% of them are in an active phase like a first episode or relapse and need hospital care. That's around 150,000 people today. Severe substance use dependence affects 3.5% of the population. About 5% of them need detox or experiencing delirium. That's around 175,000 people. Antisocial personality disorder affects 1.4% of the population. Around 1% of those may need to be held during a crisis, so around 40,000 people. Clinical psychopathy affects about 1.2%, with a similar crisis rate about 12,000 people. Intermittent explosive disorder affects 3.9% of people. Roughly 2% may need post-rage containment care. That's about 78,000 people. but many people have more than one of these disorders. So we subtract around 93,000 cases due to overlap. Our best estimate? Roughly 336,000 people in a country of 100 million need a psychiatric bed today. That's about 1.5% of the population. Or put another way, 1 in every 70 people needs inpatient psychiatric care at any given moment. Yet, in most places, we don't have anywhere near that number of beds available. Let's imagine our country of 100 million people has 10,000 psychiatric beds. That's just 10 beds per 100,000 people. So what coverage we actually providing? 10,000 beds for 336 people who need them. That's just 3% of the current need, which means 326,000 severely ill people have no place to go each day. Where do they go instead? So if they're not in hospital, where are they? Let's look at some real life examples. A man is seen arguing with voices at a bus stop, or a woman in alcohol withdrawal is staggering into traffic. A colleague hasn't slept in days, believes coworkers are plotting against him, and suddenly lashes out. An activist in untreated mania makes reckless and grandiose decisions and broadcasts them on social media. A driver deep in benzodiazepine withdrawal weaves across lanes, or someone explodes in road rage after being lightly cut off. Because they're not in hospital and community clinics are overwhelmed, police, families, teachers, HR officers, and even random bystanders become the de facto first responders. Let's ask a simple question. What are the chances you'll cross paths with someone with a psychiatric crisis today? We'll assume that 1.5% of the population, about 1 in 70 people, needs emergency psychiatric care right now. That gives us a probability of P equals to 0.015. And now let's apply that to everyday scenario. If you pass 50 people today, a quiet day, there is a 46% chance you'll meet no one in crisis, which also means there is a 54% chance that you will. On a typical day, if you cross paths with 100 people, commute around normal life, there is 78% chance you'll encounter at least one person in crisis. And if you pass 200 people a busy city day, there is 95% chance you'll cross paths with someone who urgently needs psychiatric hospitalization. Here is the formula. In short, the more people you see, the closer you get to a sure thing. In a packed urban environment, you are almost certain about 19 days out of 20 to pass someone genuinely needs psychiatric confinement today. Now let's return to the example I gave you at the beginning. How often does a crisis level driver pass you? Let's take the rate about 2 cars per second fly by in the opposite lane. We'll start with a population estimate. Roughly 1.5% of the population need inpatient care right now. But not all of them are behind the wheel. Let's say only 1/3 are still driving, so 0.5% rate among drivers. Now we calculate how often you'd pass one. If 1 in 200 drivers in a crisis and you see 2 cars per second, then on average, you pass 1 every 100 seconds. If we use a 1% rate, it's 1 every 50 seconds. And if it's 1.5%, that's every 33 seconds. A sudden hallucination, a tremor from withdrawal, or an impulse control failure at 60 kilometers per hour can instantly turn that car into a hazard. With only 10,000 psychiatric beds in a country of 100 million, the vast majority of people in mental health crisis are still out in the world, on the streets, at work, and yes, in traffic. Let's wrap up. Severe mental illnesses like active phase schizophrenia, heavy drug dependence, Antisocial traits, psychopathy, and sudden rage disorder affect only a small slice of the population. But in a country of 100 million, that still adds up to millions of people. At any given moment, about 1.5% of everyone, we say 1 in 70, needs an emergency psychiatric bed. Yet we only have enough beds for 3% of that need. The rest remains untreated in everyday settings. So the odds you'll cross paths with someone in acute crisis on the street, at work, or in traffic are high, every few minutes during a busy commute. The gap between clinical need and real-world capacity is a silent risk we carry into daily life. Thank you for watching this episode. Push the like button and send it to anyone you feel needs to know these facts. Stay tuned for the next episode from my channel.